Another must-needed victory last night for our Cleveland Cavaliers with a score of 120 to 111 in overtime against the Los Angeles Clippers. We're going to talk the last week of games. We're going to talk about the upcoming week of games, what it means for the Eastern Conference standings, and just how the season is shaping out. But before we do that, let's get into the intro. Boys, the Cavs they're situated in that sixth spot. I don't really know any other way to describe it. That's basically the best way to put it. It's they're treading on thin ice, I think. So I don't really have a great structure for this one. I'm going to start with opening thoughts, how you guys thought about this last week, and then we're going to go to our favorite social media app, Twitter, and I'm officially calling this the Let 'em Know episode, and we're going to be looking at the Let 'em Know hashtag on Twitter, what people have been saying in the last 24 hours, and we're going to react to some individuals on the Bird app. So, Justin, start us off. How are you doing? How was the game last night? How was everything?
Oh, it could be better, but interesting week of basketball, honestly, for the Cavs. We might have gone 2-2, but it really felt like we lost ground. Obviously, the Raptors are right on our heel. I believe they're one game back as of right now from being there in the sixth seed with us. But obviously, we have a couple of games over on them, and so that'll always be the good thing. But we need to start, stringing together win streaks. It's no longer beneficial to just win 2 of 2. Teams are catching up to us. The Nets aren't going to slow down. The Raptors aren't going to slow down. And we have an interesting week of basketball coming up here. We're playing we're playing a team that's going to be in the playoffs, and then another team that's going to be in the playoffs, and then a team that we've kind of just struggled against with the Pistons, and then the Lakers team, which you never know what you're going to get with them, I guess. So certainly an interesting week of basketball, but we need to start chipping away and beating these teams that are, theoretically better than us.
Yeah, Logan, I would say it's another huge week of basketball. Like Justin is saying, you never know how hard LeBron is going to try against us. He's on an absolute tear, so that Lakers game is going to be interesting. I think Denver's no pushover. The Pistons obviously play us well, so a lot to talk about here, but how are you doing, Logan?
Well, if you told me we'd be fighting for the 6th seed at the beginning of the season, I would have taken it all day. This is kind of the new challenge now for the Cavaliers, holding on to this 6th seed. Can they prevail? 15 games to go, 10 of those games being at home, where the Cavs are 16-4 since I think December 8th is the date. Need some home cooking for sure. Need some big wins. But to be honest, minus Jared Allen going 2-2 on this week against two of the best in the Eastern Conference in the midst of that 4-game stretch, I was fairly impressed, and I'm fairly, satisfied with the performance. The thing that does scare me, though, is, we can't go 500 the rest of the season. With these 15 games left, I think 9-6 at least has to be on the mind. Like I said, we're kind of stumbling to the finish line than the way we started earlier in the year, but getting guys back like Jared Allen will be big eventually. Karis LeVert showing his impact off the bench last night, a plus 14 overall for LeVert. We know that what he can bring to the table, and I think he gives them a competitive edge here as we go down the stretch. But to answer your first question, I'm doing all right.
That's good. That's good to hear. We need we got a lot going on this week. It's Tuesday, and I'm already. It's been so much sports. I mean, me and Justin have already been covered.
Just spent the last 48 hours on Twitter. Maybe
dude, literally, I haven't been off Twitter. We've been probably live for 2.5 hours, already. So this video is going up. This is going to be our third or so upload of the week here.
And at some point, we're going to probably have to go live for a third time.
So. And I'm thinking about going live Friday. So if you guys are interested,
two more times. Probably.
Well, Friday we're playing Denver.
About basketball.
I want to do the Denver Nugget Challenge. So I want to get 110 nuggets from McDonald's, and I want to eat a nugget for every point Denver scores. So if you guys are interested in that, say in the comments.
I was doing so much better.
Like the video if you want to see me do the Denver Nugget challenge. These guys, they'll just be hanging out or whatever. They'll be somewhere at
Be
the
laughing at your
rodeo.
misery when you get
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
40 nuggets.
You can each eat a nugget. Like every point, it goes
Jeff will
from
never
death
eat
to
another
Logan
nugget
to
in his
Justin.
life.
Hey, if we
That's
have good
fine.
defense,
I don't even like
maybe
McNuggets.
30. Who knows?
Yeah, well, the Cavs are a good team to do it with because hopefully we hold them to about 90s. That shouldn't be too bad. But what was I gonna say? I'm just hoping we stay healthy, just to keep it kind of unstructured. Like, let's just hope Levert stays healthy, and let's just hope we get Allen back. Like, missing Allen is the huge part. That's just been a given these past 4 games, and it's almost like Rondo goes down, but it could be worse. Like, it basically forces JB to play Goodwin. I don't know why we signed Moses Brown. Does anyone know why we signed him?
I'm kind of confused with why as well. I'll be honest, guys. I didn't watch much of the Miami and Chicago games. I was at the Houston rodeo this weekend. But did he not play in those games much either?
I think he played at the back end of one. I think he scored 1 basket because it was garbage time and we had him in. But he doesn't see like Bam is destroying us down low. And he doesn't see minutes. He's 7'2". I wasn't understanding any of it.
I thought Moses was brought in literally as insurance for Jared Allen, not to play Mobley a bunch more minutes and have a guy on the bench in case Mobley gets hurt because he plays so many more minutes. I think you got to work him into the rotation, even just for an 8 to 10 minute stretch, something like that, to give some different energy and give some rest to the starters.
That's a huge point, mainly because you watch what happened with Goodwin and even if I didn't have a high opinion of Goodwin, to start off with, I think he's grown a little bit on me, more so than Rondo has, and Karras for that matter. But you got to give these guys a little bit of a chance here, especially with I hate the idea of Mobley playing so many minutes, Garland playing so many minutes. Like, those are the 2 guys where I'm like, if we overextend these guys going into the playoffs, they're going to have no juice. I think we're seeing it, and we haven't even gotten into it yet. I think we might be seeing it with Garland right now. Like, he might be running out of juice. Thank God he's still doing it on the offensive end, passing and whatnot, and getting to the free throw line a bit more than usual. But like, man, a poor stint of games where he's shooting kind of poorly. So.
Yeah, the legs look dead. I think just getting Karras back, just reduce Garland's minutes. Obviously, a lot of people played too much last night because of the extra basketball, but we don't have anybody to take minutes away from Mobley in a positive way, which is really, really, really bad, I think. We saw it last night with the Lamar start. Cool. Worked out great, honestly, as far all things considered. Just because between Lamar, Okoro, Levert, that's who's eating up minutes when Garland, is tired. So I think that's important. And I think that is a good segue into our first tweet that we are going to be looking at. And this is from Mac Perry, where he says, let's get this out of there. Last night's win was truly a team effort. Did that coincide in the return of Karras, Levert, and Lauri Markkanen? Of course, those guys will prove vital to the Cavs maintaining the 6th seed. And this is kind of what we're talking about. Lauri even misses a game. That ankle might not be 100%. He might be favoring it a little bit. But Karras, me and Logan, we were talking that he looked great on both sides of the basketball.
Yeah, like I said, these 2 guys give you the competitive edge more than other players do. I think when you have to play a guy like Dean Wade, who doesn't do anything bad but doesn't make an impact, like, say, a Karras Levert, it's a totally different game. And now when you get everybody back, it's very interesting. Have we played a game full strength yet this season, honest to God? Because I genuinely wonder, maybe like the first games of the season, but it's been a while. So we've always been missing that one piece in each game. Like, I feel like every game that we've lost, we've had the opportunity to say, well, if we had this person, this stat would have looked different. If we had this person, he would have given us this edge. Having a guy like Karras and having a guy like Lauri, when they're healthy and when the team is healthy, it just makes you that much better. And I know that kind of goes without saying. I know that's kind of basic. It's kind of plain obvious, but it is the truth. In a game like tonight against Philadelphia, which is a big one, I think a guy like Karras Levert and Lauri Markkanen, even one of them aren't playing, I don't give us much of a shot. With them both, we have a fuller team. We have a more diverse team. And I think these are the guys that are going to be the key for us maintaining the 6th seed. Right now, I could care less about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'd like it, of course. But right now, I'm trying to stay out of that play-in, and I just need to, take each game at a time. These are the guys that are going to help me do it.
Last night was a huge anomaly. we had 9 guys that played over 10 minutes, and then we had 2 more guys play about 6 and 8. And one of those guys that played 8 was Chetty Osman, and one of those guys that played 12 was Dylan Windler. Like, I don't know. That's why I said at the top, like, I wasn't very happy with the 2-2 victory record over the past week, because you barely edge out the Pacers, and obviously that's one of the first games without Jared Allen, and unfortunate, of course, and you have to adjust a bit. But then, going into overtime against the Clippers, weren't the Clippers down guys? Like, obviously we're down guys, but still, like, I don't know. It's rubbing me the wrong way. You have an anomaly night from Isaac Okoro going to the free throw line as much as he did.
Right.
But
I think we were honestly lucky to win that game last night.
We were,
and we almost threw it at the end. Like, I think we should have really been. We should have never went to OT. And then it's like, well, I don't even know if we really played well enough to win, but we took advantage of them, being injured. So, with some good performances, obviously.
The thing about that Clippers game, though, what people have to understand, the Clippers have played all season pretty much without Kawhi and Paul George.
Right.
This is their team. This is their motto. This is the way they play. When they're down guys, they tend to stick with you, tend to give you a run for your money. And the Cavaliers experienced that last night. So, yeah, like, I was thinking about it at first when we went to overtime. I was like, cannot believe we're going to overtime with these guys at home.
Right.
But I reminded myself, this is the Clippers and who they are, especially this season. I think in years past, when they were missing Chris Paul and Blake Griffin in the playoffs, they got bounced pretty quickly. Nowadays, they have the personnel and they have the overall attitude and determination to take a team like Cleveland at home to overtime and nearly steal it. So I think, to me, that was still a very quality victory. Yes, it's concerning. Yes, I think we can shoot better from the field. But I think any win right now, I think, is a huge win. It could be against the Orlando freaking Magic, and I'll call it a good win, especially at this point in the season.
Yeah, they all count the same. So I agree with that sentiment. We honestly just need them. So I'm not going to be picky about it whatsoever. But let's talk about one of those good performances from last night. Our very own sideline reporter, Serena Winters, tweets, JB Bickerstaff on Evan Mobley's 30-point night. Quote, he understands the moment, and it's that simple. The conversation we had about the sense of urgency and the importance of these final 16 games, he took it to heart. He was phenomenal. I think the Rookie of the Year race, which I don't even like, I'm between
you
some
don't
of the
call it a race.
Some of the, I mean, I do, but some of the, like, how the landscape of sports are right now, like, it's just getting so exhausting. Social media, like, I'm already over it. If he wins it, cool. If he doesn't, I'll be upset for 5 minutes and that'll be fine. But I really do think at this point it's Mobley and Scotty Barnes, I think, and it's whoever's, if the Cavs get the 6th seed and the Raptors are in the play-in, I think that's your evidence right there to give it to Mobley, and vice versa if it's the Raptors in the 6th seed. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I know that he's been excellent since starting at the 5, and that's really good to see.
Yeah, Jeff, there was a sorry, Logan. There was something on Twitter. I'm trying to look at. I found it right now. From Cavs Nations, it's just like the last 5 games, his stats: 21.6 points, 10.8 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.8 steals, and 1.8 blocks. I mean, yeah, he's really stepped up. Like we basically said last week, like we needed him to, and it's huge, and it's been great. I'd love to know what the minutes are along with those stats, but something that, obviously we need to monitor and keep an eye out for. But, yeah, he's been phenomenal, and I think he's taken that step that, to get him back into the front. I think the start of his season really just kind of skyrocketed him into first place. He kind of fell off in the middle, towards the middle end up until now, and he's just kind of rebolstered the idea that, hey, my impact is still a huge commodity to this team that is going to be a playoff team.
We have to remind ourselves he's also playing center, the position he hadn't been playing, so far this season. He stepped in for Jared Allen, and in a lot of ways has played better than Jared Allen at his own position. And that just shows the versatility of Evan Mobley. The thing that I worry about, and the thing that I don't like, voters are really stupid, just like really dumb. Evan Mobley's been number 1 in the rookie race and the rookie ladder, whatever the hell they call it, pretty much every week of the season, outside of a couple of mishaps. But there's recency bias. It's like the Pistons are playing better ball right now. Cade Cunningham is playing very well. His stats on paper look very good. And I'm telling you, voters will forget about the fact that he missed the first however many games of the season. And that's why I'm kind of like, it irks me a little bit because I do think at the end of the day, Mobley will win and he should win. But there's just that part of me, that small part of me that's like, these voters will pick whatever they remember last. So
Right.
having a 30-point performance with 16, now 15 games to go, like Evan Mobley did, that's going to stick in their head like, no, you guys are right all season. I am the number one rookie in the NBA right now.
Yeah, and it's just like that's why I think the playoff implication, could be factored into it at the end of the season. So that'll be interesting because it's just going to be like, all right, who's in the playoffs? But coupled along with that performance, of course, Isaac Okoro played really well, but
Fantastic.
just the constant, staple of the team the whole year has been Darius Garland. Finished with 24 points and a game high 13 assists. Garland has scored at least 24 points in 10 of his last 11 games. And
numbers.
Since January 30th, he is averaging. Cavs notes. I know they just tweet stats, but they should have said since January 3rd, he is averaging MVP type caliber numbers: 27.1 points per game, almost 9 assists per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, and pretty good shooting splits. Justin, your guy, the kid, he's been the heart and soul of the team all year, it feels like.
January 30th. He wasn't named an all-star by then, was he? Might have been making a real hard push for that case.
No, he wasn't. He definitely wasn't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, I mean, he looks like a completely different player. I know I tweeted it like a little while ago, but like his progression as a player has been like steadily one of the like most interesting to watch. Obviously, like first year, I think he had okay rookie numbers, I suppose you could say. I think a lot of people were very skeptical of him. I think Jeff knows that he had a very bad plus minus, like right up there with Colin Sexton.
Mm-hmm.
Second season, he improved a little bit to, I think, like a good second year player. And then this year, I mean, I say steadily. Obviously, I don't know that you can make the argument that we expected him to go from what he was in his second year to being an all-star. But still, the improvement has been steady, and it's been something that you just watch through his game. And the one thing that I like about even in these last 3 games when he hasn't been shooting very well, he's still been able to pass the ball and still be able to get to the free throw line. I mean, I think the free throw percentage is always something that's so underrated, especially when we're talking about it, because if Garland got to the line as often as he should, we wouldn't complain about the percentages that we see as a team, whereas it's usually
Right.
Evan Mobley or like our bigger guys getting to the line and not shooting well. So he's just been a pleasure to watch all season long.
Logan, anything else? Has anything surprised you about Darius, or is it just all been the same?
Yeah, he continues to be great. I don't know, like what I run out of words to talk about with Darius Garland. It's just like
it's amazing.
It's like he gets like 13 to 17 assists or something like that randomly on any given night, and you're like, he had that many. It's because basketball is just natural to him now.
Yeah,
it's no longer a thing where he's figuring out the game. He understands things aren't going to be. The one and only thing I have with him right now, though, got to cut down the turnovers. He's been a little sloppy lately because, I mean, I get it. If you have 8 assists, you might have 3 turnovers. If you have 16 assists, you might have 5 turnovers. But there's like times, especially on critical plays, where I think he's trying to make the play that isn't quite there but could be there and ends up leading to turnover. In the playoffs, you can't really turn over the basketball. Everyone's amped up. The energy's going. The crowd's going. People get out and run. They score big time. That's one of the biggest keys in the playoff is to take care of the basketball and do the little things well. 2 things the Cavs do well right now is turnovers and free throw shooting. At the very least, Garland, we know he's a sure hand at the free throw line, but I think something like turnovers is probably the next part of his game that he needs to get together and he's got time, and that's a small gripe. That's a small thing that he's going to fix as he gets older and as he matures in his game. But everything that he is doing right now, and especially like the clutch factor, we kind of all knew he had it in him, but this season has been especially clutch. Big left wing 3 with shot clock expiring against the Clippers there in regulation. And obviously we know what he did in Indiana. He's really come a long way. Still some work to do, but you can tell he's going to be, the franchise guy, for years to come.
Yeah, and it's just like you make a good point about the turnovers because we see it in games against Philadelphia. Like you can't be turnover prone and be offensively not good at points. Like that's just the worst combination we have when it comes to losing games because we'll go empty possessions and then we'll layer on turnovers. And it's like you can never close a gap against a team like Philadelphia, even if it's 8 to 10 points like with us. Like we don't have the 3-point shooting prowess to close a gap like that in the second half for certain. So that's a good point. Taking care of the basketball. I like the constructive criticism. We got a lot. The team still has a lot to work on. That's good because they're young. And yeah,
Right. As successful as the season has been, I like that there's a few cracks and a few wrinkles because
you got to talk
if we were
about it.
playing good basketball, but this was kind of like our cap for wins, and it's like, well, this team will never be enough. We know this team can get even better. This can be a 55 to 60 win team in a couple of years when everyone develops and everyone is right. And that's why it's good to see these small little things. I have no problems with a few errors when your starting lineup has like an average age of 22 or 23 years old.
Right. Correct. Looking through these screenshots, and Justin said he was going to take a back seat today, but I just go back to back tweets directed right toward Justin, and I'm going to have him start off with this one, and I'm going to have him read it too. But this is from @girlinclee. Justin, why don't you let us know?
Sort of forgot Karis LeVert was on this team. To be honest,
you
gotta get a screenshot up there of. I think it was yesterday before the game, like early on in the morning or something, or maybe even 2 days ago. I texted and I was like, Logan, if Karis LeVert doesn't play against the Clippers, I'm going to have to let you know about it. Fortunately, he played and was good. At least good enough. And Logan doesn't have to hear about it from me. So,
he doesn't need to put up 42 points like he did against Chicago in his last game.
All I'm going to say, Logan, is
yes, he does.
By Isaac Okoro.
Yeah, but minutes. He only played 20 minutes. That's creeping me out.
I love it.
I'm
just busting Logan's balls for
there
the most part. There it is. Oh, I love it. And if any of you are wondering, that's Jeff's who's and me exclaiming that.
I'm sure
poking a little fun at Logan, of course.
Absolute troll. Logan, defend him, Logan. What are you doing?
I certainly will.
This is
I want you to put this in perspective. Yes, injuries suck. Yes, he's been known to be a little injury prone throughout his career. We're hoping that maybe it was just kind of like a determination thing playing in Indiana. I don't know. He's played 16 games. He's literally played 6 freaking games for the Cavaliers. He's had 2 games really good. Justin, I prefaced my point with injury talk first. So now everything you're about to argue with injuries is off the board. What I'm going to say is
that's Justin's whole board. Justin's whole board is just like injuries, like he doesn't play.
Injury prone. Here's a pro, but the con is he's injury prone. Yeah, I get it, Justin. With Karis LeVert, I wanted a guy who would come in and give me 14 to 16 points a game, dish out some nice assists, and he's always looking for the right pass when it's there, like he did yesterday. Larry Markin was open in the left corner. LeVert probably had the floater there, saw the better shot with Markin wide open to seal the game. He can make the right pass, takes the stress off of Garland. And from day one, I said I want a guy who can just handle the ball and run an offense. And to this point, he has done that. Everything after that, to me, is gravy. And I do think, give him 10 games, wait for the playoffs, and this guy's going to be having a couple 25, 30-point performances seemingly out of nowhere. Not all the time, but he's going to have them when you need him most. And you can book that. And we can have a bet now, Justin. I think by the end of the season, you will say Karis LeVert was a good pickup.
Ooh, that's interesting. I think I'll have to wait to see what happens with Sexton before I make any decision on LeVert.
I still kind of want both, to be honest with you. I'll take both on my team. But
Jeff and I have been talking
from both of you, but that's fine.
I'd rather have neither than both.
Neither than both.
Depends what people are going to be asking. It all depends.
I just don't
on price and everything.
And our Cavs fans aren't going to like to hear this because I'm a Cleveland fan, but I'm a Michigan fan. when it comes to college
Oh,
sports.
gross! I didn't even know you were a Michigan fan.
So I do have
You're doing
some
20
bias.
episodes with him, and you don't know he's a Michigan
This
fan?
is the first time he's bringing up anything with the team up north.
Yeah, we don't talk college.
That's
gross.
That's
bias
gross.
towards
You,
Karis
Donovan
LeVert.
Peoples-Jones, and the dude that we just traded for from the Patriots.
Chase Winovich,
Gross.
man, back together again on the Browns.
But yeah, as far as asking price though, if you could attract other big name talent and pay somebody who's better than them, there's a lot of factors that going on.
I think
people are going to be like, "Oh, you don't want either of them?" Like, no, I would like one of them.
Here's the thing, and Justin, this is my final point, and I think it'll shut you up. Would our team right now, at the end of this season, making this playoff push, would we be better with an injured Ricky Rubio or a healthy Karis LeVert to have a performance here and there?
Well, that's an easy one.
Wait, what?
Well, that's the only point that matters, though. That's the only point that matters right now. What do you want to do? Have Ricky Rubio come back when he's 34, coming off a torn ACL? Who knows how good he's going to be next season? I think at the end of the day, if we didn't grab somebody else, Garland, he would have burned out much sooner. And I think he was burning out until LeVert came back yesterday, and now we see what happens. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm just trying to defend my boy Karis.
I just think it's funny because we got Rondo, and like me and Justin were like, okay, but you actually really like that move. And then we got LeVert, but he wasn't my first person that I wanted. He wasn't Justin's first. He wasn't anyone's first. So it's kind of just funny how like that just happened right there back to back. But we're on to our last tweet from another Cavs, from another employee, and it's Brad Daugherty, and he says the Cavs have a full slate of home games this week with 2 of 4 matchups against this season's top MVP candidates. Let's take it one game at a time. Hashtag let them know. I think this is probably the best advice, better advice than we could give, because you just got to play. I think we're actually really good at this, and I think this is a JB thing. This is a team thing, but it's like we don't really overlook teams. I don't think we really haven't all year. You could say maybe Detroit once, maybe Houston once, but I genuinely feel like teams just play pretty decent basketball against us when we lose. Sometimes we're sloppy, we miss free throws, we turn the ball over, and that's quickly corrected. So it's like we're going to predict all the games after this, but you really just have to play competitive basketball against Philadelphia. You don't even have to beat them. Just keep playing competitive basketball, and if you could squeak out a win at home, even better.
Damn, who's he shading in this, saying only 2 of 4 of these matchups are against top MVP candidates right now?
Embiid and Joker.
He's saying Embiid and Joker.
Yeah. All right, he's shading LeBron. Nice. Just wanted to clear
that. I mean, you could say that, but I don't
win with a 20-37 record.
Yeah, I don't know about LeBron, but scoring title maybe.
Yeah, the great point about this is that, and I guess we're probably just going to go right into it after this, is that thank God we're so good at home. I believe we're 21-11 at home. And we're just turning into this kind of, we're getting reinforcements. We got Markkanen back. We got LeVert back. We have guys playing well. Probably one of the more complete games of the whole team, I think, yesterday. So it's going to be super important to grab 3. We have to grab 3 of these games against, the Sixers, the Nuggets, the Pistons, and the Lakers. And I'm having I'm having a hard time trying to think like which one of these is to drop, because the Sixers, after making that trade for Harden, I don't know, they look a little shaky at times. The Nuggets are a very good team. That might be the team I have to look at. And then the Pistons, I always underestimate them. I'll be the first one to say that I've underestimated them, and I think we've had them 3 times now. I don't know. They kind of have a way to stick at us. And then the Lakers, you never know what you're getting with the Lakers, with LeBron and Russell and whatnot.
Melo right now,
yeah.
Austin Reeves.
Yeah, I don't like the Lakers, but I mean, we could start into it. We could get into our predictions. We're running on 30 minutes here. I don't know who we got. We're playing tomorrow. We're playing Philly tomorrow.
We're playing the Sixers tonight?
I think it's tomorrow, which is good because we just played.
Maybe I looked at it at midnight and it said whatever.
We just played a stupid amount of minutes, so I think that's at least good.
You're right, we do play tomorrow.
I like the 1-day rest. Does anybody know who's starting? Is it me?
I believe it's Logan, is it not? Or was Logan first last week, and now it's you,
Yeah,
Jeff?
guys, I'll go ahead and just start anyway.
He's ahead, so let's just keep making him start.
Sure,
Logan is
I'm good with that.
34-15 after a 4-0 week.
Am I 3 behind him now? What's my record, Jeff? Am I 31?
You're 30-19.
I'm 4 games
Right.
back? Oh, God.
Yeah, you picked
All right,
up a
Logan,
game on you.
everything you predict, I have to go the opposite of. Go crazy.
Tomorrow night in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, the Cleveland Cavaliers will defeat the Philadelphia 76ers.
Ooh.
Good.
I'm taking it. I think after playing them at one time, we played them very competitively. We had them right where we wanted them. I think in front of the home crowd, yes, no Allen is going to be really bad for a guy like Joel Embiid right now. But I think if Garland can match James Harden, at least try to take away most of that production, and we're going to need big days from both guys like Markkanen and Karis LeVert, like Mac Perry mentioned. I think tomorrow we're going to come out with a big win that we desperately need, honestly, more than anything. I don't have a whole lot of reason for it, more than just like a stomach feeling that I feel like maybe we can pull this one out.
Jeff or me?
I think, Justin, you're up
Also, I
next.
have a 4-game lead.
So I said that between the Nuggets and the Sixers, I had no idea which game we were going to drop. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say we win against the Sixers and the Nuggets just to clear my ass, because I think no matter what, we're going to lose one of those games, and we're gonna win one of those games. And so, but the interesting point that Logan brought up. The interesting point that Logan brought up with the
feeling
Sixers,
okay? Like, what's going on?
Dude, I'm just talking out my ass right now. But Logan, the one point that you brought up about the Sixers with Embiid is that last time we matched up against them, it was all Jared Allen versus Embiid. I'm actually way more interested in seeing how Evan Mobley handles the job of guarding Joel Embiid, and kind of, because we know Joel can spread the floor and he can, go out and take those jump shots now. He's, they're very similar, I think, right now, Evan Mobley and Joel Embiid. So that's a matchup to look out for. But Harden, I don't know. Harden rubs me the wrong way. Garland, just hopefully he can get back on track shooting wise and just continue to do the things that he's been doing well in the past week. So
somehow we have a clean episode 21 sweep of us beating the 76ers, because I'm going to say we beat them too, nice. Which is interesting because that'll be a huge win. That'll be
something about it.
That'll be a fun one. But Logan, we're back up to you, because Justin has already said that we're going to beat the Nuggets. So I'm curious to what you have to say about that.
If I'm thinking about the Nuggets correctly, Jamal Murray is not back. Michael Porter Jr. is still out. We beat them with Porter Jr. the first time.
Did we?
Yes, because I remember him knocking down some threes. I don't know
I'm
why.
Such a casual.
I remember a left wing three that he had string music on, like in the first quarter. I don't know why I watched those highlights a lot, because that was like our first statement win of the season, where like, oh, maybe the Cavs are actually halfway decent. So the problem is here, if I pick us to win, I'm kind of flirting with a 4-0 week right now, which I'm not confident in at all.
Okay, let's go streaking.
Let's go streaking. Never streaking again, dude.
Streaking.
How did it work last time you and I went streaking? I think we went like 1-3.
I don't think any time we've ever said that we're going streaking. I think I've done it twice at least, and I don't think it's worked out either time. So
I think this is a win. I'm just gonna say it. Okay,
let's go. I have a feeling we're going streaking. Let's go.
We just might. I'm still considering my LA option.
I am going to say we lose to the Nuggets, because I'm going to do the Denver Nuggets challenge, and knowing my luck, they'll probably score 125 points. So I'm going to say we lose, just because I feel like that's the game we need Allen for. Not that Joker's like way different than Embiid, but I think that Mobley's going to struggle there.
Wait a minute. Denver has DeMarcus Cousins too, don't they? He's been playing good for them.
I just think Mobley to Wednesday has to guard Embiid, and then he has to guard Joker on Friday. That's like good luck with that.
Is it too late to switch my option?
No, it's not too late. It's way too late. Um, now we have our
Got it.
favorite team in the Eastern Conference, not the Toronto Raptors or the Bucks, but the Detroit Pistons.
This
Logan,
is such an odd game, man. They
I
match up
hate
so
playing
well
them,
because
bro.
I do hate
similar
playing
to us, they're young and they're tough.
And they have good
We
bigs
have a
too.
trap
They got
game.
Stewart and Sadiq Bey's like pretty good, and like
Let's go streaking.
it's so trappy.
When is Jared Allen gonna be back?
Never. He ain't coming back.
I
This
was
week.
gonna ask that, but I feel like we just don't know.
He was on the bench, but like Lowry was on the bench for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I have a 4-game lead. I might go 4-0 week right now. I'll probably go 1-3, which by the way, 1-3 would like hamper us big time.
Big time.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll go nuts.
But I'm gonna say a win for Detroit. I'll be honest. My first two predictions, I said a win against Detroit. Sorry.
I was gonna say.
Okay,
I'll be honest. Our first two games, I could also see those being both losses very easily. There's just something about. I think the Cavaliers know what the urgency is. They know they need to
They
win
have
every
to.
game that they're at home. So I like the idea that they can find their rhythm again here.
I'm keeping ground. I'm staying put and going streaking. Detroit Pistons, we beat them. 4-game win streak going into the Lakers game.
I'm staying in the cellar because I'm gonna say we lose to the Pistons after we lose to the Nuggets because I could
What
just
are you doing?
every time though it's like, oh, season's over. Every time we've lost to the Pistons, it's like, oh, season's over. Like just wrap it up. It's like if we go 2-2, and I'm a spoiler, I'm gonna say we beat the Lakers. But if we go 2-2, that's gonna be fine, regardless of how it shakes out. 1-3 is unacceptable, and 3-1 is 3-1 is awesome, and 4-0 is completely acceptable. So yeah, that's my spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna beat LeBron and the Lakers because they're just really bad. They're like not good.
Well,
The
that's
Lakers
Jeff's predictions.
beginning of the season, I thought we beat the Lakers. And I know Lakers have been playing like some really crap basketball lately. I've never seen LeBron so frustrated for a full game than he was last night against Toronto. The thing I worry about is LeBron James. And he is always the one, right? I mean, I think if we hold him under 40 points, we'll probably win. But I could see him putting a 44 bomb or something like that on us, come that Lakers game. But here's the thing. Garland is a far better point guard than Russell Westbrook. And I
Correct.
think Garland is honestly going to get confidence off of Russell Westbrook's play. I think he knows Russ is the kind of guy that's going to leap at passes, going to jump in passing lanes that, he's overcommitting to. Offensively, he's going to throw bricks. He's going to, try to do these not even fancy passes, just ill-advised passes that aren't there. I think LeBron goes for 40 and the Cavaliers win a 4-0 week, and I think that's going to blow up in my face. But I got a 4-game lead. I can afford to be a little positive.
True. You can do that. I'm going to just try to keep pace with Logan. I'm not going to gain any ground or lose any ground on him. I'm going to go with a win as well.
2 4-0s.
2 4-0s. Let's go streaking.
I would be thrilled. I'd be thrilled with you
your
guys
chance,
being
boy.
correct. Yeah, my chance was last week too, and I folded. So, you know what? I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna be humble. There's always
What's
next
Jeff's
year
record
for
again? What's Jeff's record? I don't know. If I
26 and 23. If I could end up being above 500, I'm cool.
Okay.
It's me versus me. You know what they say at this point.
All right.
But
Interesting question here, Justin. Since we both went 4-0, if there's
Yes,
one
sir.
game you could change your prediction on, who would it be?
it's a good question.
You said that we were going to lose against no. We were both going for. I'm dumb.
I was saying I think that the one loss I would see in this sport the most is probably the Denver game.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I don't know. The Sixers are misleading just because, like, James Harden, I feel like he's either a detriment to the team or he's the reason they're winning games, and you never know what it's going to be one or the other.
Tomorrow.
He didn't play great agaast us the last time. Like he didn't play like
elite. Embiid didn't play that well either. We got beat by their role players. Freaking Tyrese Maxey had himself a dead.
Yeah. I think if like we were to both pick one game, if you went with the Nuggets, I would have gone with the Sixers.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to start going. What I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games left to try to after
there's some
this
time.
stint.
Yeah, there's some time.
but I'm going to try to be the best positive version of myself in terms of predicting these games and not just be a troll to try to catch up. So it's kind of like that Jeff thing. It's like trying to be trying to beat yourself and not really worry about chasing you too much, but I do have to worry about it a little bit.
When I say 4-0, like I do say that because I know I have ground in the standings. But at the end of the day, there's something about this like this gut feeling, and we've seen the stretches for the Cavs: very good,
Right.
bad, very good, bad. Right now, we're kind of in no man's land. But I think the fact that we still won 2 of our last 4 without Jared Allen makes me believe that at home we can find that recipe to finish the season. I really hope we don't meet again in 7 days, boys, and we're talking about a 1-3, and suddenly we're in the play-in, because that would be unbelievably sad more than anything. So I have confidence that the Cavaliers are going to find their mojo here at home. They have to. They got to. This is the stretch. This is the homestand that they have to find the momentum to carry them the rest of the way.
Well, you heard it here first. Cavs are going to have a great week, so let's put that out there. Let's manifest that. It's been Cavs Encapsulated, episode 21. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on our bell notification so you don't miss. Whoa.
Word of the week is Cowboy.
Word of the week is Cowboy. Not like Dallas. Not like Dallas.
Amari Cooper, baby. Let's go.
Just like that's a good point. That's interesting.
It's the connection. Yeah, I want to connect.
If you want to talk about, if you want to hear our Browns stuff, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends. Make sure people who like the Browns, like the Cavs, like the Cleveland Guardians. We haven't forgot about them, kind of, only a little bit, because mostly their front offices forgot about them as well. When the organization forgets about the organization, it's kind of tough to remember the organization. But with that all being said, if we see you Wednesday, if we see you Friday, if me and Justin are on here at 3 a.m. because trades or whatever is going on, just make sure in between now and then that you let them know.